Hello everyone, Satan here with Torn Tutorials. Today we're going to be covering a new player guide for gym gains. Before you start training in the gym, it is important to define what build you want. Keep in mind you can always change your build in Torn, and I encourage you to do so. Try new builds and experiment, especially with advanced weapons and armor once you can afford them, or join a faction like mine that provides them. I would suggest deciding on a build before you reach 1 billion total battle stats. There are tons of builds in Torn, and selecting a build is based on the goals you have and what is fun for you. Most people maintain a certain ratio to get the best possible gym gains. These ratios are Hank's ratio and Baldur's ratio. On the screen I'll flash the ratios as I talk about them. The key thing about Hank's ratio is that you have a special gym for 3 battle stats. That means this ratio will in fact get you the best possible gym gains while having a build that will win you fights as well as defense. However, your 4th battle stat will always be a very huge weakness for you, and you will feel this weakness. Now with Baldur's ratio, your gains are close to Hank's ratio, but you do not have a huge weakness, more like a minor favoritism to defense and dexterity, or a minor favoritism to strength and speed. I would have to say at the time of making this video, the most popular ratio is Hank's ratio with a horde battle stat of strength or defense. However, with the introduction of advanced weapons and armor, investing in dexterity and speed is the meta in my opinion. This is because there are only 2 advanced weapon effects that do not rely on landing a hit, and they both suck in my opinion. What makes a dexterity build so valuable is that smoke grenades, which reduce your opponent's speed, can only be blocked by one specific effect from a weapon, making it rare that you will encounter this in fights, especially early on. There is a weapon effect that increases hit chance by a percentage, which means if someone has a 20% chance of hitting you and the weapon increases their hit chance on each miss by 2%, that means it increases their hit chance by 0.2% each time they miss, which is garbage in my opinion. There is another effect which has a percent chance of guaranteed hit. That means if they have a high-end version with say a 5% chance of guaranteed hit and last a full 25 rounds with you and do 4 attacks, they will get on average 5 guaranteed hits in the fight, which is terrible in my opinion. With just a small investment in defense, it makes it very difficult for someone to one-shot you, and chances are the med cooldown cost of such long fights won't be worth it for them, even if they can last that long. If it is worth it for them, you are probably going to lose regardless of whether or not they had this weapon. Since every weapon with an advanced effect except for 2 of them require a hit to trigger, speed whoring is a very strong choice in my opinion, because if you have a weapon with say a 25% chance to trigger an effect and you fight 4 fights that last 25 turns, your weapon should trigger 25 times in total. However, if you miss 3 times and reload your weapon twice in each fight, that will be a total of 20 turns that you were unable to trigger your effect during those 4 fights. Thus, your 25% chance to trigger your weapon effect was actually reduced to 20% chance across each fight, just because you missed 3 times in each fight and reloaded twice. Say you miss 8 times and reload twice, that would reduce your 25% chance effect to only a 15% chance to trigger your effect across those 4 attacks. Furthermore, this is assuming your weapon has enough ammo to last the entire fight, which is almost never the case. Most weapons don't have nearly enough ammo to last the entire fight. Speed whoring is also strong because speed reducing temporary items are very common in wars and ranked wars, thus having a lot of speed will help you deal with that. The next build is a balanced build where you invest in all your battle stats equally. You will find it's hard to progress in the Battle Stats Hall of Fame as you get higher up there, but every time someone makes fun of your battle stat total, you can just put a whooping on them and lecture them on how much better your purest quality build is. With this type of build, I would recommend keeping a stock of temp items that reduce your foes' battle stats pictured here, or temp items that boost your battle stats pictured here. Picking the proper temp item is key to this build. Knowing your foes' weaknesses and their battle stats is key to this build. And the last build I have for you guys today is your own build. Torn is all about experimenting and having fun. Feel free to try out different combinations of weapons, effects, mods, and battle stat combinations to find what is fun for you. There's no sense in doing what I say if you're not having fun. The way you train will change based on how far along the individual stat you're training is. These milestones do not go off your battle stat total. These milestones apply to the individual battle stat you're training. The first milestone is 200k or less in a single battle stat. During this time you'll be doing what's called happy jumps. It can be a bit confusing at first, but starting off, you'll want to decide if you want to train your stats in one of the builds mentioned before, or if you would like to optimize for the best possible gains. If you want the fastest gains, you'll want to start off training only one stat and then go back later on to train the others once you unlock better gyms. Keep in mind, if you go with this strategy, you'll lose every fight for a long time until you get higher levels in gyms and start training your other stat. If you choose to go with this strategy, I would recommend Dexterity because it will make it easy to go from selling losses for money to selling runaways for a lot more money, but you should choose the stat that you want to train up based on the build you decided. This also helps progress you through the gyms much faster because the gym progression is based off of energy spent in the gym, not gym gains. So the longer you spend doing happy jumps, the longer it will take for you to get better gyms unlocked. If you follow this strategy, once you unlock Cha-Chas, you'll be able to unlock your first special gym. After you unlock Cha-Chas, you'll want to look at the build you decide to use and train the other stats involved in that build before going further. If you wish to progress in the gym and still win fights, train according to the build you have decided. This is a big pro because this will give you a feeling for what your build will be like in fights, and you can decide if you want to stick with it or change it. With the special gyms, you have requirements that must be reached before they are available for purchase. Their requirements are shown here. In my personal opinion, Balboa's gym and Frontline Fitness don't give a lot of extra additional gains over George's. However, the special gyms for those that wish to whore one stat give considerably higher gains. There's two gyms I haven't talked about so far, and that is the Jails gym and the Sports Science Lab. The purpose of this video is to give good advice. Simply put, don't bother with these two gyms. When you train a battle stat that is under 200k, your gains are mostly based off of happy, so it is best to sell some losses so that you can afford a private island rental with high happy. The best method for gains at this point are happy jumps. There are two ways to do this. One way is with erotic DVDs and the other is with candy. Erotic DVDs are the best in terms of gains. To do a happy jump with erotic DVDs, first you'll stack energy to 1000. Click the video at the top right to see my tutorial on how to stack energy. After you stack 1000 energy, wait until your drug cooldown is over. Then you'll want to check the time in Torn. Do not do a happy jump unless the time is the following times on the screen. The reason why is excess happy does not last forever. You'll want to use it before it expires on the 15, 30, 45, and 00 minute mark. Once you know the time is okay, you'll want to use erotic DVDs until your booster cooldown won't let you use them anymore. Then you'll use ecstasy to double your happy. Then you'll train the battle stat that is under 200k in the gym. Next, you'll want to make sure you do an energy refill with points to get the most out of your happy jump. For a lot of players, this is a pretty expensive option. Remember, Torn is a marathon, not a sprint. Regular gym gains is better than bursts of gym gains once in a while. The cheaper option is candy jumps. Most of the time, factions even offer free chocolate too. For a chocolate jump, it's much easier. First, you'll wait until you have a full energy bar and then you'll use a Xanax. And then you'll wait until your drug cooldown is over. Next, you'll eat as many candies as you possibly can until your booster cooldown won't let you eat anymore. Then you'll use an ecstasy. Next, you'll train the stat that is under 200k that you want to train in the gym. Then you will do a points refill and train that stat again. Your goal should be to do a happy jump every time your booster cooldown ends. Doesn't matter if it's a DVD jump or a candy jump. You should never have 0 booster cooldown, 0 drug cooldown. Thank you for liking and sharing. I hope this video has earned your subscription. I wish you the best of luck in Torn.